Hey, Fran fam. Welcome to Life and Style with Francyne. I am your host, Francyne Walker. Joining me today is consummate professional actress, comedian, singer, master patisserie. I want to say, wait a minute, I'm using a big word that I
That's
probably
Italian right there.
Hey,
That is Italian right there.
is it the baker? I am so pleased to have Crystal on the show. Crystal Pis Crazee, that is her name on Facebook. I've known Crystal for a number of years, and I've watched Crystal grow. And she shared the stage with a number of very very well-known comedians such as herself. But what I really wanted to talk to Crystal about is how she is sharing her heart. She is one of many that I choose to plan to interview as a humanitarian. And why do I call Crystal a humanitarian? See, there I go. We were just talking about that, right, Crystal?
That tongue tied.
Crystal is chosen to pivot in the midst of this pandemic. And what I definitely, sorry about that, guys. What I definitely love about Crystal is she is a giver. And the way she has chosen to give is something we're going to talk about. So please join me in welcoming Crystal P to the show. Hey, Crystal.
Hey, everybody. Thank you. Thank you so much. Every time I do an interview and people start off with the introduction, I'm always like, is that they talking about me?
Yes, yes, yes. We are
Because
talking
I
about
often
you.
don't think of myself of all those things. I'm just Crystal.
Yeah,
Well, Crystal P, because if I call somebody and say, hey, this is Crystal, they're like, Crystal who?
yeah.
So I'm just regular old Crystal P.
Well, you know what? You are not just regular old to me. I have always admired you from afar and up close. We have been part of programs. You always bringing the laughs. As I was one of the MCs for a couple of programs that we've served together on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you actually, we have uh, what do I want to say? A
A lot of friends.
a lot of mutual
Mm-hmm.
friends, including our dearly beloved, who is no longer with us,
Phoenicia.
Venetia. Venetia, and if you can tell, one of my favorite colors is purple. If you can look at my background, you made a beautiful cake, and it was. I remembered Phoenicia asking me, What's your favorite color?" And I said, "Purple." Not really knowing. She was just asking me as a matter of factly. I didn't know she was going to have you make this beautiful cake that was all purple. It was a gift,
Oh,
uh,
like a gift box.
like a gift box, and it was just all purple. It was delicious.
Thank
Um,
you.
but I wanted to talk about Crystal P. We've got the comedian, we've got the actress, we've got the singer, we've got the model, we've got the philanthropist. We're going to talk about Laugh Foundation. And we're going to talk about how you have chosen to be a light in the midst of all this darkness, all this chaos, all this hatred, all this racism. I mean, you name it, you know,
Yeah.
um, police injustice, brutality, all of that. I mean, it's not so much that we've become desensitized. It's like another,
Just overwhelmed
it's
with it.
overwhelming because honestly, we're all sort of like sitting ducks, not to, call ourselves ducks, but it's like we're sitting like when, like,
Because we don't know what's next.
we don't know what's next. We don't know what's next. Just us going down the street, to the grocery store and coming out. Now you got people coming towards us because we have on a mask trying to protect ourselves and others. So it's just a lot.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. It's funny you mentioned that because I was just telling somebody earlier, when people say, "Oh, these are our last days," no, it's not. Like, no man knows the day nor the hour. Quit speaking stuff.
Yes.
But it is a really weird vibe, if that's the right words to use. We're having all this strange weather, storms. Yesterday, we said we were going to get rain. It
Yeah.
literally rained 7 seconds. It came down like a monsoon. Before I could get up to the window to verify it was rain, it stopped and
Yeah.
nothing else happened. But then you hear over here, they're getting not one, but two hurricanes, earthquakes. I mean, it's just all kinds of madness happening in atmosphere.
Yeah.
And it's just really, really weird.
Yeah. Let me
And
just
that's why I tell
here.
people you have to live
Yeah.
while you can,
Yeah.
because you just don't know.
So Crystal, tell me, you're right, you don't. And so we really have to walk by faith, right? And not by sight. That's really what that means. Walk by faith, and that means, of course, exercising a certain amount of faith, exercising a certain amount of love.
Yes,
So
trusting what
that,
you cannot see and what you do not know.
yes, yes. So it would behoove us all to be a little nicer, right?
You would think. You would think.
But, hopefully, our lights will continue to shine and inspire
Fine.
others to begin to embrace that kind of lifestyle. You and I, Christian, and that looks different for everybody else. We're not here to talk religion, or spirituality is always a part of the conversation, but I'm not discussing religion. We're talking about walking by faith and having the love of Christ for others and showing Christ through what we do.
Too.
And that is something that I wanted to talk about, but I want to get into, because there's so many facets of you, Crystal. You're not just Crystal P. You are, you are a phenomenal woman that Maya Angelou talks about, as it relates to the many things that you do. And I say that you shared the stage with likes of, hold up.
Oh, wow. Hey, Kevin. I actually met him. Hey, Foolish. I love Foolish. Foolish is actually one of the people who discovered me.
Really? See, you know what, Crystal? Let me tell you something. You had so many pictures. I really didn't know which one. It's like all these people she knows. I mean, you had a ton of pictures. Like, you have met everybody. So Foolish discovered you. Now, who's this?
Mm-hmm. That's Tommy, nephew Tommy, Steve Harvey's nephew. That was the Show Your Love tour. It came through Detroit, Michigan, and I won the opportunity and was crowned Detroit's new queen of comedy. That was 2009, and I think I had one with Steve Harvey as well. Yep,
Hey, I'm there.
there is. Yes, so that was backstage at the Fox Theater,
Yeah.
the largest indoor theater here in Detroit, seats 5,000. It was a sold out show. I do remember that night.
See? So, Crystal, let's talk about how you got started. You said Foolish discovered you. When did you realize you were funny and that you could really turn this into something lucrative for yourself? Because like I said, I've seen you on a number of in a number of programs. You did the Apollo, the Showtime at Apollo. You did the Last Comic Standing. Those are some accomplishments to be
Frightening
proud of.
experiences.
You're not, like I said, you're not just Crystal. You did the Vicky Winans thing. You've been on radio. You did the Angela Henderson show. You've done several radio shows. Mm-hmm. When did you realize that you were funny and that you were going to be a comedian? How did you come to that realization?
Well, I as a kid, I was always one of those kids that had to be seen and heard. Growing up in our times, children were not supposed to be seen or heard.
Right.
I was seen and heard. I was doing everything completely opposite of children my age. I've always known, probably 2 or 3 years old, that I was entertainer
Yeah.
or meant to entertain people. I would sit around and make up songs and dance and jokes and play cards, just anything to get the attention of people. I was
Yeah.
always grabbing the attention. I would watch, what do you call them? Sitcoms. I
Yeah.
watched them incessantly growing up. I would envision myself being Penny on Good Times or Dee on What's Happening, and
Oh yeah.
just to watch
Yeah.
the comedic timing of Red Fox on Sanford and Son. I had all the lines memorized from the Jeffersons to Good Times to What's Happening to Sanford and Son. I could go through every episode. I just always envisioned myself as, the person on the screen. But growing up the way we didn't have money and a lot of resources. And my parents got divorced when I was 6. And so it wasn't a great time, so to speak, financially, or even
Yeah.
having extracurricular activities and experiences. Of course, we did the free things. You played ball in the street and foursquare and kickball and tag and jump rope and hopscotch. But I didn't get a lot of opportunities to go to acting classes or take ballet. I was able to take free, jazz and tap at the local recreation center, but
Yeah.
not really get into the arts. Probably for a person of uh, my personality. I
Yeah.
was one of those kids that probably needed to be put in those types of classes to develop and, cultivate what was going on inside my big head. And excuse me, non-coronavirus cough. Um, and so,
I know.
when you call, people start wiping their screen and stuff like, oh
Girl, I said,
Lord,
wait a minute, I'm safe. You know.
right. So I didn't grow up that way, but I always was the class clown and different things. And so with most comedians, most of their tragedy turns into triumph, so to
Yeah.
speak. I used to be a Detroit Police Reserve. I was a reservist with the Detroit Police and had been involved in a shooting. One of my good friends and actually a graduate from my class, from my police reserve class, was shot and killed in front of me.
Wow.
And it's like, you never know when you're going to leave this earth. I tell people, you never know when you're going to leave this earth. And
Yeah.
I said, I want to do what I want to do before I leave this time, because I grew up where you went to school, you went to college,
Yeah.
graduated from high school, go to college, get you a job, and that's how you live. But I haven't always been the traditional type of person, and I always kind of went against the grain. And
Yeah.
so when that happened, I said, you know what? This was Labor Day, September 2003, September 1st,
Wow.
2003. It was Labor Day. And after that, I said, you know what? I'm going to do what I want to do before I leave this earth. And I was not, a young person, so to speak, uh, well over 30 years old. And I told my best friend, I said, I want to do comedy.
Yeah.
Her response was, you should have always been doing comedy.
Oh.
Everybody saw it in me,
Yeah.
but I never really pursued it.
Yeah.
And so I just decided I saw NBC was doing, um, they were doing these auditions for Stand Up for Diversity
Okay.
for people with different, nationalities and racial backgrounds and men and women and so forth. And it was out in LA at the Laugh Factory. And I said, I want to go out there, but I can't afford to go out there. I really want to go out there, but I can't afford to go out there. My best friend said, ask your dad, because now, fast forward, he's doing well financially. And I said, my dad is not paying for pipe dreams. Now if you want to
Yeah.
go take a couple classes at the local college, he's all for it. I said, he is not about to pay for foolishness. She's like, you should just ask. And I was so nervous. And I finally relented and asked him and explained to him what it was. He never said, he never looked at me crazy. That was the thing
Yeah.
about it. I was so surprised. And it could be because my dad is also the family clown as well. And I
Oh,
am really like my dad in so many ways. I'm
wow.
really my dad in a
Yeah. So you get it on.
version. Yes, definitely. And his mother was sarcastic. She had a sarcastic humor. My
Yeah.
mom's side of the family was very humorous. And so he told me, he said, I'll pay for the plane ticket, but you're on your own.
Wow.
So I was almost like Madonna. You know, some of these people, when you think of it, all I had was $100. That was to rent a car, get gas, and eat. That is all I had. And I spent $65 on a rental car. It's California. You're not gonna
Yeah.
find 9.99, Enterprise for the weekend out there. And my husband at the time, who's deceased now, he had a first cousin, an aunt, uncle that lived out there, and they welcomed me into their home in Inglewood. Shouts out to the Youngs out there. And so I stayed there. I didn't have to worry about a place to stay, and I had my $35 left to get gas or whatever I needed. And his family fed me the few days I was there. I was just there the weekend. And so I went to the audition, and it was people lined all the way down the block. I'd never been to LA. So this was just mind boggling to me seeing, all the sights. And we were at the Laugh Factory, which is a very popular club in LA. And so standing in line, I met these different comedians. This one girl's name was Honor, like Honour,
Yeah.
pillow, like on her pillow, but on her pillow.
Wow.
And Joey Nebris, he was a Chaldean comedian. I met him in line and different people. And when I got on stage, I'd never, ever done any stand up, never, ever been on a comedian stage, never been in a comedy club as a performer. And I just got up on the stage and was doing my little jokes. I didn't know how the people were receiving me, the people that were auditioning us.
Yeah.
But in my heart of hearts, being on that stage, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be. I was kind of on the stage like this is home. And
Yeah.
from that point on, I was determined to come back to Michigan and do my thing. That was 2004. And they had a comedy contest here in Southfield or something. I said, I'm gonna get in on this contest. And I do clean comedy. And I thought the contest was supposed to be clean. And all these comedians were up, and I said, wow, I really don't feel right. Well, lo and behold, this other girl gets up and she's clean comedy, and she kind of looked like she was uncomfortable. And we ended up in the back of the room talking, and that's the day I met Phoenicia Banks.
Oh.
And so she and I'm sorry, I miss
I
her.
know.
And so we had a lot in common being women in
Yeah.
comedy,
Yeah.
Black women in comedy, doing clean comedy. And so she told me what steps was taking. So I went over and did the open mic at the Comedy Castle, Mark Ridley's Comedy Castle in
Yeah.
Royal Oak. And from that point, it took off. I did my first show over there in November 2004, and I've been doing comedy ever since. But I still long to be out in LA some. And so I would dip back out there. I went back out there. I was doing open mics around here,
Yeah.
and then in 2000, let me see, that was 2004. Still going into 2005, went back out to LA, called up the guy that did the show, found another person. So this is a crazy story. It's crazy how things come together.
Yeah.
My dad said, call my cousin Zelma in LA. Who is Zelma? I don't really know my dad's side of the family.
Yeah.
Never really knew outside of my grandmother and my first cousins. So my sister went with me, and we were kind of looking like, who is she? Should we call? He was like, call her. So we called. She said, come on over. We go over her house. She has these photo albums. We're going through the albums. She said, there's another comedian in the family. Going through the albums. I said, that's Mike Epps. She said, yeah, he's married into the family. He's married to your cousin, Michelle. And
Wow.
so I saw their wedding in Hawaii and all this. And my cousin Zelma cooked for us the best meal I've ever had on the road. It was just bananas. And so she said, my son is a manager at Magic Johnson's 24-hour fitness center. They're having a grand opening. So I'm
Wow.
gonna go up there and surprise my cousin that I don't know and never met. So I'm asking people, "Hey, do you know Pierre? Where do you know Pierre?" And people are like, "Who are you?" Tell him I'm his baby's mother, but he don't know I had the baby yet. I'm just, and people are kind of looking. And so I met my cousin. Well, while I was there at the theater, I don't know if you all recall Living Single, the sitcom with Queen Latifah and Kim
Girl,
Fields.
come on now.
So you remember when they do the song "We Are Living" and the girl that's dancing?
Yes. Yes.
That was Big Les from
Yes.
BET.
Yes.
She taught aerobics classes and dancing at the 24-hour fitness center, was there at the grand opening. So running to her and she's like, hey, and she's really cool and down to earth because
Yeah.
it was kind of like an invitation event. And so my sister told her, yeah, she's a comedian. She said, oh, you are? Have you ever done chocolate sundaes at the Laugh Factory? I was like, no, but I like to. So chocolate sundaes is basically the black show at this big time comedy club.
Yeah.
She gets on the phone, calls the guy that was a basketball star at Seton Hall. He said, well, my show is booked 9 months out. He said, but you from Detroit? He said,
Hey.
I'm going to bring you on. I'm going to bring you on. And sure enough, Foolish and Mike Epps were headlining that show that night.
Wow.
And so when I did the open mic part of the show, they have this Chocolate Sundays portion for amateur night. You get a couple of minutes. And Foolish said, you from the Detroit area? I've never heard of you. He said, I'm going to call you when I get back. I'm thinking like, yeah, right. Don't call us. We'll call you. And
Yeah.
a week later, he called me and he gave me my first paid urban show. And if you don't know what urban is, that's black. Because I've been working the mainstream. Phoenicia and I worked the mainstream market. Blacks didn't hire us.
No, I know.
Blacks did not hire us because we weren't cursing. And it was like we were too clean to be dirty and too dirty to be clean.
Yep.
And so we worked the white market and we were all up and
Yeah.
down the highway for, some
Holly.
pennies.
I mean, I remember seeing Phoenicia in Holly, driving to Holly, Michigan. You guys stayed at Ridley's in Royal Oak. You know what I mean?
I traveled to 117 cities in the state of Michigan.
Wow.
I've been in Cadillac, Adrian, Alba. When I got the gig in Alba, everybody was like, Alma? I said, no, she said Alba. And I looked, it didn't even come up on a regular map. I had to get like the almanac to look it up. It's this little city 17 miles west of Gaylord, down M30, 131. One flashing light in the whole city, whole little town, one flashing light. I took Phoenicia with me. We stayed at a bed and breakfast. When I tell you we had fun at this little Green Lantern bar in Alba, and Phoenicia and I were the only blacks in there, and they're known for snowmobiling and this. And this one black snowmobiler comes in. We were like, "Hey, cousin!" And everybody's just laughing.
Yeah.
But we've been everywhere. Chelsea, Grass Lake, Petoskey, Midland, Traverse City, places a lot of blacks do not. We were in a place in the thumb of Michigan called Caseville. They're known for their cheeseburger festival. Phoenicia and I had been there 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
We were a favorite there. So until I met Foolish, I hadn't gotten any urban shows. He gave me my first urban show in Toledo. I'll never forget it. Just do 5 minutes of comedy for $150. Man, you thought, oh my goodness, this is the life. $150. I know that doesn't sound a lot.
It's a lot. That's $30 a minute.
5 minutes, and he gave me a hotel and he paid for travel. I thought, oh my God, this is so amazing. And it just felt good. And I called Foolish's rooms, and Foolish knows this. Anybody that knows Foolish, when I do his rooms, I call them gang initiation rooms because you get the thugs, the drug dealers, the hardcore people, the street people, but what Foolish taught me was, even though I worked clean and that wasn't my environment,
Yeah.
he said, you be you and make people laugh.
Yeah.
Don't worry about all the extras and them worrying about if you work clean and this, that. Tell your jokes and be funny and just be you. And it made me better. I think I was better. I am better because of that, because I did these rooms that really challenge you as a
Yeah.
comedian.
Yeah.
That made it so much easier for me to go into other places. And even during those times in the clubs, and I would always sing Amazing Grace. I had this bit that I did about Amazing Grace. And
Yeah.
I would do it in the white bars. I every club in the state of Michigan that I've been to, every bar, and I'm talking about where people are tattooed with motorcycle jackets, wearing Harleys, and their beards come down to their belly buttons. I
Yeah.
would do Amazing Grace, and
Yeah.
people would remember me, and it would always set me apart. And so doing Foolish's rooms really built me as a comedian and built my character and strength as a comedian. So yeah, he was one of the people that was very instrumental, and he even was there. I got into a contest, the P. Diddy Bad Boys of Comedy. Everybody was like, audition. I was like, nah, I don't want to audition. So I ended up opening for them at the Fox Theater in '05, just not even a year after doing coming into comedy.
You know what's interesting is the takeaways I get from your experiences. One, like Phoenicia, I remembered when I was just starting, I had gone back to school to get my broadcasting degree, journalism degree, and I finished. And she says she was going to do her one-woman show. And she says, I'm going to have you MC, and just facilitate, because I'd started doing, a lot of company facilitation and events, emceeing events, just to get out there to be able to think on my feet. Not as a comedian, but she always, like you guys are definitely alike. And I finally remember her always sharing her information, sharing her stage. And it's very interesting that a male comedian, let me cut because I don't like female, so I'm gonna say male comedian, was instrumental, in your success. But what I also, which brings us to today, where you have definitely, Crystal P, not just Crystal P, have paid it forward even in the midst of this pandemic. You have gone live telling people where the Clorox is, get over here, where the chicken wings are, get over here, where the wipes are, y'all gotta venture out, because you're used to doing that. You went to Alba, you went to the cheeseburger capital, cheeseburger festival capital, so you're used to venturing out, and you were advising us, well, not me, but us, because it's like, you got to venture out. You got to, but you were forthcoming with information, forthcoming with your supplies, because you knew everybody was hoarding. And now you look at people couldn't even take that stuff back, because it's like, wait a minute, I don't need all this hand sanitizer. No, you need hand soap though. You don't just need hand sanitizer. You need to wash them hands with some sudsy soap. And
some of us were doing that before the pandemic.
Yes, before. So it's like, yeah, we know it's like, okay, y'all bought up all the jail sanitizer and not soap. So they couldn't take any of that stuff back. But you were sharing, you've been sharing. And that's why it was so appropriate to have you on the show as my first humanitarian spotlight.
Wow, I appreciate that.
Because
this pandemic definitely has been a challenge, I would say.
Yeah, but you have navigated the challenge and have been instrumental in helping others navigate. That is worth noting. Okay. And you started with the virtual comedy, sharing the platform with other comedians, giving them, using your name and your draw, and influence to come online and hear other comedians, because this pandemic hit us in such a way where a lot of people as entertainers, because you have several streams and jobs. You are like one
Yeah.
of the hardest working women. You have a full-time job, correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep, with the
So
state of Michigan.
you work for the state of Michigan. I know that. Been working for the state of Michigan ever since I've known you. Doing comedy, flying out to LA, making some of the, as I try to say, patisserie, making some of the most amazing cakes, which we're going to get into. But you've been that rock for a lot of people, that light navigating people through this dark, dark space that we are unfortunately going into 2021.
Right.
Because Rona is sitting there chilling. She ain't gone. Just because y'all over it doesn't mean the pandemic is over.
And wintertime is yet to come. Flu season will be hiking up.
Yes. So let's talk about, so you did the virtual comedy, have comedians where people could, put their monies towards comedians. It was just a wonderful thing. But what really stood out to me was this.
That is moi.
That is it. Okay. That is it. And let's talk about that, how you came up with that idea. Something you said earlier. And I know this is something that is very, your dad saw it, but he gave you probably that thing that parents do. It's like, I want to see how bad you want this. I'm going to give you this much.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is something that's very typical of our parents when they're like, okay, but you have chosen to, I know, matter of fact, I know Amber, if she's still on here, Amber Dawkins, she said, I love Crystal. I've taken her classes. You have targeted the babies.
Y'all know I'm a crybaby, so. I love oh my God.
You have catered to the baby.
Crazy.
Where baking is seen as like comedy, so to speak, a pipe dream. Baking is very frivolous. So it's like, why you got kids baking?
This is the crazy part. Before the pandemic, I've been a baker. I've been baking for years. I have clients all the way back to the early 90s.
Yep.
And so, of course, as years go on, your clientele gets bigger and bigger. And at one point, I retired from cakes. I said, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm over it. And then my daughter went off to college, and that college tuition started kicking in, and the spirit of needing extra money came upon me. And I said, okay, I'm just going to take my regulars, my old, just quietly. I didn't advertise it, but you couldn't keep quiet about it, and it started back up again. And so, and I taught my daughter, she was my assistant when she was 12 years old. Brittany, she has her own business, Jars of Perfection. And she was my assistant working for me. And as a baker, she makes way more than I do, which I'm happy, because now I know if anything were to happen to me, you can take care of yourself. You're going to be okay. You'll be sad because I know you'll miss all of this fabulousness, but my daughters will be okay because they have a skill. And so people would always ask me, oh, would you teach my child to bake? You taught your daughter. I said, no. No. And this went on for years. And then the pandemic hit. And so we're in March, and I'm here home, working from home, and everybody is depressed, because they're thinking, oh, this will die down after a week. Okay, it's going to die down in 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks turned into 3, and then 3 turned into a month. And so all up and down my Facebook timeline, I'm depressed. I'm bored. What am I going to do? Here we're ready to pull each other's hair out. My kids are home. I'm not, just all the different stories I would see on my Facebook page. And I remember before I went to sleep one night, not to get all spiritual on everybody, but God spoke to me and said, I gave you all these talents.
Man.
Don't let them go to waste. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, but I'm about to go up here and go to sleep because I'm tired. And I could not sleep well. And I just kept thinking about the people on my timeline and how the kids were really losing themselves, so to speak.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I remember telling Delvin, I said, hey, I said, what do you think if I taught kids how to bake online?
Yeah.
He was like, oh, that'd be great. He said, I said, you don't think that sounds crazy? It sounds crazy to me. But he said, your Crystal Pis Crazee. And
Yeah.
so I said, okay. And in my mind, I'm going to throw it out there. I said, if I get 50 people between these two classes, I'm doing a Saturday and a Monday.
Yeah.
I'll be okay. That first week, I had 50 people on the nose register. I couldn't believe it. I said, they really want me. And so then I saw more people, of course, being bored. And I said, you know what? I'm not going to just do kids. I'm going to keep the fellowship between families together.
Yeah.
So it could be a mother and a son, a father and a daughter. It could be a husband and a wife, two sisters, two brothers, a brother, whatever. We're going to do this per household. Because people would email me and say, well, how much is it, to register? And I'll say, okay, $5. Well, no, I have this. I said, no, $5 per household. It's not
Oh,
for me to
wow.
make money. It's to keep people engaged. I can still
Yeah.
entertain you doing comedy while we bake.
Yeah.
And so it started, I thought this was going to be, we do a couple classes, humor the people, Rona be over, you'll go back to the way it was and all is well.
Yeah.
And then the students were like, hey, even when things are over, we don't want to go away. So then it became, okay, I'm doing classes in May. Then it's June. Okay, it's July. Y'all still want to? Yeah. Did you come out with the September schedule? Like, do we have stuff to get us through the rest of
Oh my God.
So
Here's one of
here I am.
the banana
September.
puddings right here.
Banana pudding.
And I did not want to include children because I didn't want to get release forms and all of that. So
right.
this is one of the banana puddings from one of your students.
Yes.
But
because I was gonna say that looked like a fancy stove, and that is not my kitchen. In my class, it's so crazy.
Cookies, peach. And you have cute names, peach cobbler, key lime,
pandemic pudding. I don't speak German, chocolate cake. Painting the town red velvet. Yes, we do. We do have, because I want it to be fun.
Yeah.
This is a time to forget about all your problems. This is time to forget about whatever is going. We're going to have fun. We're going to learn something. A lot of the schools have removed home economics.
Yeah.
Now the kids can learn something. And I teach them not only what people don't see in the pictures or in the videos that they don't see, I teach them about entrepreneurship. If you're going to do this as a business, because people are like, well, why are you teaching people what you do? It's enough business for us to go around. I'm not worried about the kids competing. Do you have family and friends that I don't know and have?
Yeah.
Go with it. I teach them about pricing. I was in class yesterday. We baked German chocolate cake, teaching them about pricing and everything. I have kids, 9 years old, selling pound cakes, 7-Up cakes. One little girl, she does philanthropy. I love Riley. Her mom is awesome.
Hey, Riley.
Riley, for Mother's Day. Now, mind you, I just taught the 7-Up class, 7-Up cake, pound cake class, the end of April, I think the last week. For Mother's Day, she made 11 7-Up cakes to pass out to mothers. So the kids are uplifting other people.
They're paying it forward. The same way people have poured into you, thank you, foolish for, pouring into her. You're pouring into somebody over and over again. You've taught your daughters to do the same. Brittany, went out and bought, I saw the live, bought a KitchenAid.
That was Bria. That was the
Bria,
baby girl.
the baby girl.
Hmm.
Now, who does the little cheesecake jar?
That's the oldest. That's
Okay,
Brittany.
Brittany.
People think that the oldest is the youngest and the youngest is the
Yes.
oldest because one is bigger than the other.
Yeah,
But
but you have poured so much into them that you kind of get them, mixed up, and it's like, okay, until you see them, So it's like the baby girl got the KitchenAid and said, here, the KitchenAid mixer, which they're not cheap.
300 regular retail is about 300 for 379 for a 5 quart.
So
And she got it on sale, but it was still, yeah.
So you are pouring in. And so my girlfriend asked me, she said, so who are you interviewing today? And I said, oh, Crystal P, a friend of mine. I know her, da, 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 da. She makes cakes that are out of this world, and they're too pretty to eat.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, that was the twins' birthday party, Jamie and Joel. They're also students in my class. Oh, you have to watch the video of them when they saw that cake and the animals. That design for this schoolcraft cake, we call it our hood rat cake, actually came from my daughter Brittany. She did one of the other streets, 7 Mile, and somebody called me to duplicate it. And if you need explanation what's on that cake, you don't need to know about it.
You don't need to know. And so I said,
I learned a lot of hood ratness that day.
Wait, and I said, and if you can't afford the real purse,
oh wow, yes,
you can get a cake made.
Yes, one of the teachers got that.
And I said, okay, and if you feel like a drink, but don't really, I don't know. This look like this cognac look a little. It looks expensive. So,
it is.
You know what?
It is.
I'm looking at the decanter, and I say, I think I would rather have the cake. And
man, do you know, Francyne? I don't drink, but I do a lot of cakes that sometimes are infused or have little pipettes that have little shots in them.
Yes.
So this client, which I found out they are a part of the Shane Park family. Let me say that. I said Louis, and so Delvin, he drinks. So he's explaining to me,
like, okay, that's hey, Delvin.
Yeah. Cognac. And so, of course, I've got to Google it because the only way I can make something come to life is I got to have, know what I'm doing. And so I look it up, and I'm wiping the screen because clearly my 2020 is I'm losing my sight because I'm looking at these prices. No, nobody is drinking cognac. Just the balance of my house. I'm just I said, wait.
How much?
And so,
well, it's roundabout because I don't drink. I'm not.
They age it for 50 years. I think it is.
Wow.
50 years. I saw prices for a shot bottle for $1,500 to $3,000 for the shot bottle. For like a regular bottle, you're talking about $3,500, $5,000. Some even had them, depending on what year it came out. Somebody had one online for $40,000. I said, this cannot be true. And so the mother-in-law sent me a picture. This is his favorite cognac. And he had a cigar sitting there and a humidor. So that's the box that people keep cigars in.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know about cigar smoking, so I looked at the humidor and thought that was the brand of the cigar. And so I'm trying to search for this cigar called this and nothing. And so I said, well, let me look up the humidor. I said, wait, this humidor costs. I said, no. I said, somebody has a whole lot of money that I don't have because clearly, unless it was a candy cigarette out the penny candy store, I don't know about smoke.
Yeah.
And so the cigars were a special cigar. I called some of my cigar smokers. I'm like, hey, I got this picture. I sent them, can you tell me what this is? Oh, that's a FTL, some whatever, Dominican cigar.
Oh, yeah.
So pretty much okay, let me create something. So I'm looking, and every cognac, what is it, Louis the 13th, Louis the 15th
Hmm.
bottle has those spikes. They're all handmade. No two bottles are the same.
Are you serious?
They hand blown and they're put on by hand. And so I'm trying to recreate this cake to make it look like it was just, yeah, Louis the 13th
Wow.
cognac. But they said they loved the cake, they were in love with it. I got a lot of phone calls about it, down to the humidor. What's the box on there too? I didn't know. That picture
No, the
didn't
box
show.
is not
So,
on here.
so
No.
that just shows the cake. So I actually set that cake on top of another cake, the cigar box, the humidor, and
Ah,
hand
okay.
rolled the cigar to make, in front of it and everything. So they loved it. They loved it. So it's been an interesting ride.
This one is one of my favorite. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off. What
No,
did you?
no, no. It's just I love to see people's reactions because I'm always frightened. I'm always nervous about everything that I do before a show, before a cake, and people are like, "Oh, you know what you're doing." I said, "But you want to make sure people's vision comes to life, and or I want to make sure that people are entertained. So every show, I'm still like, oh man, how's this
Well,
gonna
this
work?"
one is definitely one that would make somebody happy.
Oh, and do you know Little Miss Joey? They thought she got the name Joey because she was supposed to be a boy, and they didn't find out she was going to be a girl. So Joe and then Joey. She's cute as a button, but she said she wanted a Wonder Woman cake, but she didn't want the red, white, and blue. She wanted her cake to be teal and orange. And actually, when you cut the cake open,
Yeah.
I dyed the batter because she wanted the batter to be teal and orange. And they said they wanted the Wonder Woman to be black with puff balls because she has this natural, pretty natural hair. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. And so she was so happy. And her mom is really popular in the city as well. So
So who
shouts out
taught
to
you how to
Francyne.
bake? How did you, I mean, you are obviously, I only pulled a few. You've got probably, at least you had almost 250 just from this year, not from 2018. I went with the most recent years. Who taught, I mean, your attention to detail, the down to the spikes on the Louis bottle, you know, the the schoolcraft, the purse, the twins cake, the baby Joey's cake, a little girl Joey's cake. I mean, you this is not just something, this you have a gift.
Thank you.
So who
This
taught
is,
you how?
y'all don't think I'm crazy when I say this. I never went to school for cakes, never was taught how to decorate cakes. I I used to have a decorator when I had my first daughter. I would buy, his the guy I went to prom with, his aunt did my cakes,
Yeah.
and she developed carpal tunnel, so she stopped. And so I would go to these bakeries, and the cakes were awful. The taste was awful. The designs were awful. And I said, well, if I'm gonna pay all this money, I can mess up a cake for free. I
Yeah.
just throw something together. I can at least bake because I've been baking as a child. I was one of those kids that even had a lemonade stand and I'd sell sugar cookies to the postman. I have
Yeah.
a little stand, a quarter. And so I could bake, but I never decorated. But if I'm gonna pay all this money to these bakeries, I'm just gonna mess up the cake at home for free, and we'll just stick some candles, and if it's leaned over, we'll push it back up, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I made this cake for my daughter, Brittany, for her birthday. And we happened to have pictures, and people at work were looking at them. Where'd you get your cake from? And I kind of looked because I was offended. Like, you're not about to clown my cake. And it's like, no, I want to get one. And I'm like, yeah, right. I thought people were being facetious.
Sure.
And I worked at the plant at the time at Chrysler, and everybody in the plant was ordering cakes. So now I'm working 7 days a week at the plant, doing 12 hour shifts. And then I turn around and go home and bake all night. And I would come to work and I would literally have boxes, and you couldn't see me, and I'd be balancing boxes like this piled up. and literally taking them one off the top, passing them out because everybody
Yeah.
was ordering cakes. And they just knew me as the cake lady at the plant. But I just taught myself. I
Wow.
would look at pictures
Yeah.
and say, okay, well, let me see if I can do this. And I would do stuff freehand. I didn't know. I didn't have any formal training. It was never like that. It was just really weird. And I had this one customer. I don't know if Princess is watching. So Princess is just that. She is a princess.
Yeah.
She has been one of my longest clients. I did a cake for her back in 1995. And I was so frightened to do a cake for her because her reputation preceded her. Now, she was my sister-in-law's first cousin's wife. And
Yeah.
she had this very meticulous, great taste.
I
And she had
know.
ordered a cake from a bakery, and she ordered, it was Thumbelina. Is that Disney Thumbelina?
Yeah.
And whatever, I
Mhm.
think it was Thumbelina. She made them take all the icing off the cake and redo the entire cake. She's like, that's not what I ordered. And I told my sister, and you want me to make a cake for her? I said, I'll never be able to meet her expectations.
Yeah.
She's been rocking with me every year. And when I retired, she texted me. It was like, you were supposed to do my grandbaby's first birthday. That you might been my only cake. So privately, I was doing cakes for her because she stuck
Yeah.
with me, and every year she said, you outdo yourself, you outdo yourself. And she comes up with the craziest designs though. When
Yeah.
you see me do a cake for Princess, she has come up with this design. So one of my favorite cakes for this year was, I don't know if you saw it, was the alligator
I
crunching
did.
down on the Heineken beer can.
Yeah.
And she said her cousin, they call him Gator. She said,
Yeah.
well, what about we just do an alligator biting through a can, a Heineken beer can? Princess, I can't do that. What are you talking? No, that's not. And in my mind, I
Yeah.
looked at pictures of cakes of other decorators, and sometimes I get inspired, and sometimes I'm like, we are all going to hell in a handbasket with gasoline draws on.
True.
There's no way I can do this cake. And I just sat back. I said, you know what? Quit looking at what everybody else has done. What does an alligator in your mind look like? And so I began to look at real alligators from the zoo and how they bite people and how the up under their belly and up under their mouths are made.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
had somebody come over my house to give me a quote for painting my house. And I was like,
Uh-huh.
well, you can go around. I got to decorate this cake. And they watched me take these 2 blocks of cake that I had and literally form it into
That
an
is
alligator
amazing.
from
Wow.
the curve of the chin and the mouth and the eyes, and they just see me take my knife and just kind of work it out like kind
Girl.
of people doing ice sculptures. And they were just sitting there. They said, if I hadn't been here, I would never believe that this was this. I was literally
Yeah.
taking a picture each step. And
Yes.
so I said, well, a real alligator is not necessarily green. It's more
Mhm.
olivey, but their bottom, if you look, it's like a ivory color with speckles and spots. And so
Yeah.
I just was airbrushing, and I made these 2 eyeballs out of fondant
Yeah.
and the whole cake because they don't like fondant. So I had to make the cake buttercream.
Girl, I don't either.
But the eyes were fondant, but everything
Yeah.
else was strictly buttercream. And
Yes.
I made the humps on the back and the spikes of the alligator, and I took a paintbrush and dipped it in water and painted the eyes so they could look shiny and sinister. And I was just like really, really into this cake. And then I went and got a real beer can, cut it with some scissors, crunched it, and stuck one side in the other to make it look like he was biting. And I drew the teeth in with icing down around. And that's one of my
Amber,
favorite cakes.
Amber says, Deidre says, I don't know how she does it all. I call her a Jamaican with so many jobs. Amber says, how do you juggle it all?
You know what? I think it's because I don't think about it. Sometimes I have to keep myself busy to think about my own part. People think because I'm the comedian, my life is just, hey, everything is all happy and gay, and we are the world, and let's sing kumbaya. And it's not.
No,
I have my own issues and things going on. Like every
absolutely.
one question that's driving me crazy to all of Facebook land in the world. Please quit asking me when I'm getting married. I don't know. we were originally, it was March,
Yes.
supposed to get October, but we've had tragedy and things
Yeah.
happen. The best man was in a head-on collision and broke everything but his neck, pretty much. My
Yeah.
maid of honor is
I'm
going
so
through some
sorry.
things, or matron of honor. So things have been happening. My mother-in-law to be had a health challenge. So I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know. And it bothers me. It does bother me. But I I don't have control, and things that I don't have control
Yeah.
over, like what am I gonna do? So I stay busy. I
Sure.
work, I bake, I design clothes, I come up with
Yeah.
the lesson for the next week's baking class, and I just don't think about it. I really don't think about it. What makes me happy is that others around me are happy. I like when my friends and my family are, you know, doing well and exceeding and
You do.
thriving.
Yeah.
And so that makes me feel good. People have been sending me their pictures. My
That's a
phone has
good
been
feeling though, to want, don't you think? I can't imagine being any other way than seeing others win. And that
thrive.
has been
Yeah.
the commonality, the common thread, if you speak, if so to speak, that you have where you share everything. You shared the supplements. See, I know you, and I pay attention. You shared the supplements you need to take, from the black seed oil to the biotin. This is what you need to do. You need to watch yourself. You need to take care of yourself. You're always sharing. You're always forthcoming. You're always wanting to see others win. And I think if we get out of this
Competition.
rewarding and this competition, first of all, guess what? You're you and I'm me. That's our power. You know,
Mhm. And
you,
there are some things that I can't do that Francine does well.
because I'm not making a cake. I'm gonna buy a cake from Crystal because that's your gift. I don't want to make a cake. I don't
People
want.
don't understand
I don't
that
want
you
to do that.
have to sometimes get out of your own way.
Yeah, and you
I
do.
try to be as transparent as possible because I need people to recognize I'm a regular person.
Yeah,
And even when people see celebrities and stuff, like they put their pants on one leg at a time
they
too.
sure
Now
do.
there are some
They sure do.
celebrities that I love and appreciate. I love and appreciate D.L. Hughley. I
Yeah,
love and appreciate Mesa from Incognito.
yeah,
There are some people in the business that I love them because off stage, they're just good, down to earth people that you
sure.
can, you know. And I've had people like, oh, you're a celebrity. No, I'm not. I'm just regular old folk. I make
Yeah,
mistakes. On Fridays, I take my garbage and lug it out to the front because
that's
until I'm
very
married, I'm
noble.
still a
Yeah,
single person, a homeowner. I got to take care of home. Even when I was doing the BET and the this and flying out here and put this, when I came home, hey, we need lunch money. Did you pay the water bill?
yeah,
It's regular
yeah.
business, take care of bills. Did you send in the tuition? Did you do? So my family didn't care. Like, they say that, oh, yeah, look at
Yeah.
that. Okay.
We're gonna wrap
Um,
it up shortly, but I want
mhm.
to, because we could talk for. You
Oh,
just
yeah,
got
I'm a
such a
talker.
such a no. We both can talk, but I just know that it's so many things. Like I said, it's just so many things that you've done. And I just wanted to highlight a few,
Mhm.
featuring you as my first guest in the humanitarian spotlight.
I
Uh,
appreciate that.
that
I
was,
appreciate that.
that's the great thing about having your own platform. It's like I get to allow others to show their lives. Nobody is ordinary. Everybody has a gift, a skill, a story. And I was excited. And when I saw your last live, and when I was moving through this August funk that sometimes befalls me, um, I said I gotta interview Crystal, and I know I was going to get around to it in circle because I have a list of people, but I wanted to make sure I highlighted you because last week was Humanitarian Day. I said, well, I'm not going to be able to get everybody that I want on the 19th, but Deidre says she loves how you are teaching Zoom baking classes for the kids. She's so proud of you
Thank
helping
you.
bakers. One other thing before we close out, I want you to talk a little bit about the Laugh Foundation before we close out.
Okay, so the Lab Foundation is another one of, I guess, my legs and ventures. Just
Sure.
like, so I have Break a Whisk, which is the
Yeah.
baking leg. So I do scholarships with the kids. We gave away mixers, hand mixers and stand mixers, supplies. I take one little kid every week, supplies, pans, food, all kinds of things that people don't know about. And people like Deidre have donated and helped me get to where we've even
Oh,
outside of that, under the Laugh Foundation, we paid off somebody's tuition at Saginaw Valley State University so they
nice.
could graduate.
Oh,
So LAUGH is an acronym for Learning and Understanding God's Help, and it's a sowing and reaping concept. And just like you said, people have poured into me. I want to pour as we plant seeds and they
sure.
grow. We take those seeds and replant them and split them. You know, when you take like my hosta, you dig it up, split the root, and replant it, and it grows elsewhere. And that's what we want
Yeah.
to do in the community, or at least what I want to do. And so, Lab Foundation would raise scholarships and give to young men in the inner city. So I'm
Nice.
originally from Royal Oak Township, 8 Mile in Wyoming, Myers area, and we would give to kids there, Ferndale, Oak Park, and Detroit, and our young men, and so into the kids who may not have a 4.0, but
Yeah.
they're creative. So they may do art, they may draw, they may paint, different functions, different art. They
Yeah.
may do ceramics or something, and we wanted to build up those kids because some people are more left brain than right brain and vice
Exactly.
versa. So
Yeah.
Lab Foundation was a way to sow scholarships and help kids travel abroad. We've helped kids go to Spain and other parts of the world so they can get exposure. I go to schools, I speak. I'm in talks right now with the P2P program with DHS to get some of the students in the school into the baking class for free. I
Yeah.
told them, don't worry about the cost. Just get the kids and my friends like Deidre and Melanie and Carl and all the people that have donated, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
My friends, I have a great support network that loves what I do with children. So Lab Foundation is just another leg, so to speak,
Sure.
of what we do. And I was just talking, I said, man, I haven't done anything with the Lab Foundation because of the pandemic. We didn't
Yeah.
have a skating fundraiser and things of that nature. But I'm going to get back to doing some other things. But even though I've been done with Laugh Foundation, I'm still
Being a
sewing into
prophet.
community
Yeah.
and helping the children thrive and teaching them and doing mentorship. And I just did Hope for America with Tamika Gaines, which is another
Yeah.
not for profit thing with children. Spoke to
Sure.
children. I have a child in there now doing a drawing for me. They talk to children about having websites and brand names. So I want to encourage the businesses. So I went to these children. What are you selling? What are you doing? Show it. This is what I want you to do for me. Let me know the cost, and I want to build their brand. So I have a young
Nice.
lady named Maya. She's a sketch artist. And I was telling them, you need to develop that. Your brother wants to do video games. You all should have the Gatson team where he's doing the games, you're doing the characters, and you build,
Yeah.
and you shall never be hungry ever, ever again.
So where can we, you know, sew into some kind of way to what you're doing, whether it's monetary,
So people can always hit me up at crystalpiscrazee.com. I have a tab for the Laugh Foundation. People want to do stuff on PayPal. People can, Cash App Crystal P is crazy, $ Crystal P is crazy. PayPal, Venmo, all the Chase Quick Pay, Zelle,
Okay.
every thing. People will see me doing raffles weekly, announcing who has given because we always do stuff. with the children, like you said, you have to get releases and things of that nature.
Yeah.
So with the young lady who got all the supplies, we highlighted what we did. We
Yeah.
didn't show her face.
And
One, not only to protect her, but everybody thinks that, okay, I did this for this person. Okay, you don't have to embarrass them or
yeah.
show
Yeah.
out to do something. I've
Yeah.
done stuff for people that people don't even know about because it's not about being seen or that
Yes.
type of thing. If you want to do something from your heart, you just do
Just
it. You
do
don't do
it.
it to
Yeah.
award or to
Just
be
do it.
seen. So we did show because I wanted to people to see where their money went to
Of
and
course.
what we got. And they know just the mixer, the stand mixer was, how much that was. And then we got her the hand mixer as well. And
Oh.
she has cookie sheets, cooling racks, baking pans, pure vanilla extract. Anybody that's bought an 8-ounce bottle of pure vanilla extract has spent no less than
And
$23.
we're not talking the one in the Kroger at the Kroger. No,
Okay, we're talking about
you talking about
Madagascar
Madagascar.
bourbon vanilla extract. I even taught the children how to make their own vanilla extract.
Wow. You know
So
what? I just want to thank you, Crystal. I did not judge wrongly. I knew, like I said, you have been doing a lot in secret, but I wanted to highlight you today and just have a conversation with you to encourage others where, you have taught others as well as yourself, as an example, how to be resourceful, how to create businesses. I mean, you are literally changing the world one person at a time, whether it's an adult, whether it's a child. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm just glad to know you.
thank
I
you
know
for
some
having me.
amazing people. So it's like I can never run out of great guests. And
You're gonna have to interview yourself because you have so much credit to your name as well. And
oh,
people, it's so funny because people are always saying, "Oh, you do this, you do this," and I've been looking at you now in my secret life. I think I'm a newscaster. I've always wanted to do news. I'm one of those people. I'll jump out and do anything. If
yeah,
anybody knows me, I will jump out. If it's what I want to do, I'll do it. If
yeah,
you want to put my fat behind in some lame brand underwear and sit there and model, I will do it
yeah.
because I'm going to just not.
You're such a courageous and adventurous soul, a free spirit. We all can take a page. We can still be who we are and be inspired by others and watch and take a little bit of that energy. That's what it's about. Don't use social media as a means to compare. Use it as a means to be inspired to become your best self, because God didn't make any mistakes, right?
No, not at all. Not at
Making a
all.
mistake. So it's like we were saying, you're you, I'm me, and that's our power. So I appreciate you. I'm not gonna make a cake,
Mm.
maybe buy a cake, but definitely I appreciate you for being here and just
Thank you for
shining
having me.
light on this, in this space, in this place, because we're going to come out of this. And like God told me, like He's been talking to all of us, this pandemic is going to really highlight who you are. It's going to
Mhm.
magnify who you are. You're going to either submerge or emerge. And I was like,
Well, I like that.
I'm
That's
emerging.
powerful. That I felt that in my shana now. Yes.
I'm a wordsmith, but that was not me. And that's probably because why he talks to me the way he does, how he does. But it's like, I got to give the credit. It's like, you're going to either emerge or submerge. You have emerged as a leader, a philanthropist. A philanthropist doesn't mean, okay, the Rockefeller dollars. A philanthropist is a philanthropist in action, doing what they're doing. And that's what you've done. Thank you once again for joining us. We're going to keep watching, keep learning, keep applying, keep
Yes.
growing, keep shining our light just because of you. So I appreciate you
Thank
today. Thanks
you.
for joining us, and we will talk to you soon, okay?
Thank you, everybody. God bless you, everybody. I love you and
Girl.
appreciate you, Francyne. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Mwah. Mwah. See you, girl. Oh, wow. I hope you guys are encouraged and inspired by Crystal P's story. She not only makes us laugh, but she makes us think and she makes us want to grow and become better. So thank you guys for joining another episode of Life and Style with Francyne. Remember, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, drop us a line at lifeandstylewithfrancine@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Francyne Walker TV, or like us on Facebook, Life and Style with Francyne. And don't forget to lastly like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, where any and every episode of Life and Style with Francyne is found. And you can also go to francinewalker.com, and we will see you next time. Thanks for joining me. We appreciate all the positive energy and vibes, and we'll see you next time. Have a great evening.